One of the most powerful things I've seen on TV in the last year, I don't know if you saw it or heard about it, but was the great Reggie Jackson speaking about the experiences that he faced playing baseball during tough, different times than we experience today. You being the face of basketball at a particular time where a little later, but you certainly faced some of those issues. Can you just touch on how different a time it was for you coming into the league?
For sure. So Reggie and I are friends, and we've sat down and had the conversations, even going back to the '70s when he first came to New York. I was already in New York. Arthur Ashe was Arthur Ashe was one of the guys in our little group, and Bill Cosby was one of the guys in our little group. And we used to talk about the state of the country, because this was 1974, 1975, 1976. Those are the 3 years that I played for the Nets. And Reggie was Mr. October, became Mr. October during those years. So here we are, all these years later, still maintaining a friendship. Arthur's gone, of course, and Mr. Cosby's, just kind of gone a different route with his problems or whatever. But Reggie and I have maintained. As a matter of fact, we're working with Richard Dent on a business project now that's going to be released in 2024,
Wow.
and his documentary, which he came to my home here in Atlanta the same week that he came to see Hank Aaron and get Hank to participate in his documentary, and and we talked about his plight, and how he's handled things, and the fact that the '70s, I mean, when people start saying, "Man, I want to go back to the good old days," you got to think about it twice, because everything wasn't good about the old days. Everything wasn't, whether it's an adult saying it or a kid or whatever. Be careful when you start saying go back to the good old days, and you need to be excited about today, and you need to be excited about tomorrow, and keep that carrot out in front of you, because even though there were some good times during the good old days, everything about the good old days was not good. Especially from a civil rights standpoint, civil issues standpoint, and just the freedoms that you're guaranteed in the Constitution. You have to continuously work hard for. All right, babe. See ya. You have to continuously work hard to understand and then act on.
Talk to me about the Rucker Park days. I've heard incredible stories and documented incredible players and incredible moments. What was
Hmm.
it like back then playing at Rucker Park?
Yeah. So the good thing about Rucker Park is that I never went to Rucker Park until I became a professional. So even though I grew up in New York, I grew up in Long Island, and I traveled around the Bronx and Brooklyn and Queens, and played pickup ball, played street ball, and most of the guys who I played against, we didn't really befriend. We were kind of like barnstorming. Guys, me and some of my boys, Leon Saunders and Robert Mayrant, Ralph Burgess. We just get in a car and we go looking for games. And you probably had that same experience, where you want to go to different neighborhoods and go into the park, and and it was so funny because Brooklyn was one of the. I'll get over to answering your question in a minute about Rucker, but Brooklyn was one of the areas. We went to frequently because Mayrant was from over there. Now he lived out in Long Island. He lived in Roosevelt, going to Roosevelt High School, playing on Roosevelt's team with this guy George Green, who was really a great shooter. So so we had one of our guys had on a t-shirt or something that said Long Island on it, or it might even
Mhm.
said Roosevelt. Whatever. We went over there, man. We dusted off some guys, and then they were like looking, like, "Where you from, man?" Because he got that shirt on. And we said, "Yeah, we from Long Island." Long Island. We let guys from Long Island beat us. How could that be? They was like freaking out, man. And and I was like, "What's wrong with Long Island?" So so after my junior year at UMass, I signed with the Virginia Squires, and going down to Virginia looking for a house. Fatty Taylor and Charlie Scott showing me around because they were the captains of the team. And then Charlie asked me about playing in the Rucker League, and Pete Bessie had a team called the West Siders. So, Charlie was on the team. Billy Paltz from St. John's, and Billy Schaefer, Ollie Taylor, me, Charlie, and then we had Hawthorne Wingo from the
Hmm.
Knicks. Yeah, we had Hawthorne Wingo, and it was another big guy. I can't think of his name right now, but he was pretty good at it. I think Willie Sojourner might have been on our team too, because he was drafted by the Squires. So we went up there. We went in the park, man, and it was exciting. It was all it was hyped up to be. Tiny was playing there. Connie Hawkins, uh, the guys who went to Marquette. Two guys who went to Marquette. Dean Meminger,
Team manager. Yep.
Dean, because he played with you in New York, right? And
Oh, he was around. Yep.
yeah, and there was another guy. Remember, there was a guy they called the helicopter. I think his name was Herman Helicopter Knowings.
Hmm.
He could just jump straight up. And so I guess if he took a jump shot from the corner, he probably can go catch it. So it was an exciting time, and I did that for 5 off seasons. My first preseason, and then the next 4 off seasons, and then physically, at 21, playing on that pavement, was taking its toll on my knees. So I started wearing knee braces, and even though I wanted to be there, every Sunday, and give the fans the entertainment of seeing pros play for free instead of having to go to the Garden or the Nassau Coliseum or whatever, just right out there in the park. And then all the things associated with the fans being up on the buildings and in the trees and in the fences, and some of those pictures that are historic. And I mean, you can't make that up. Those are real people up there hanging out and wanting to be there on those Sunday afternoons and to see those games. And so I got I got a nice rep from playing street ball, and the bringing street ball into the ABA and bringing it into the NBA, and a lot of people start saying that the Rucker League made me who I was, and that wasn't necessarily all true, but there had to be some truth to it because we had a good following there, and Rucker League got pretty good publicity, and I think the next generation of players, Kobe and guys like that, they Dominique, um, they all wanted to play in the Rucker League.
Right. Kevin
And
Durant.
yeah, and Kevin Durant, they said, "Man, I gotta go get my love from the Rucker League." And it's like you haven't really done it all until you played in that league. So
Yep.
yeah,
Those what you really showed was that there's levels to this because there were guys that were, you know, famous first name guys like Joe Hammonds, Pee Wee
uh-huh.
Kirkland,
Yeah,
Earl Manigault, Helicopter. All of those guys, they were good, very good. But
yeah,
when you went down there, when Wilt went down there, it
yeah,
really put on full display that there's levels to this.
yeah. And it's Connie, and yeah, there is levels to it, and I think it's hard to compare summer league to a whole season and playoffs. To you play summer league. I mean, it's like right now coaching the Big Three, so that's 10 weeks out of the summer. And I got 42 weeks to do what I want to do. It's 10 weeks. I'm gonna be involved in basketball. And I got some good players. I got some former NBA players, some All Stars. Who are playing, and it's fun, and it's the NBA is kind of hating on the Big Three because it runs the same time as the WNBA, and the WNBA is an NBA property, and Big Three, is founded by Ice Cube, is black owned and operated, and I hope that they'll put the mantle down at some point in time and recognize that this is just another opportunity in basketball for players, period, who love the sport, and many of them are former NBA players, and some of them are Hall of Fame candidates and whatever. So hopefully Adam can change his mind about how he feels about the Big Three.
Well, one thing I will say, I came to a Big Three game that you was coaching,
Mm.
and you wasn't just out there just hanging out having a good time on that sideline. I saw
Yeah.
the I saw the competitive juices wanting to win and holding guys accountable.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And Steve Mix is my assistant, so if a guy give me a problem, I just tell him to go talk to Steve. He got the big shoulders, and Jules is there too. So we have fun with it, man. It's like we start in late June, and we usually finish up by early September.